Live, super live. Man, we are live. Fresh from Milwaukee. If you dropping in from wherever else in the world, welcome to the Grapevine with me, Manon Sabir. And we got a real live show for you. So today we're launching another edition of Mindful Movement Mondays. If you haven't minded the movement, you're not on a Monday. You probably hitting Tuesday, Wednesday, Thursday, but any other day other than Mindful Movement Mondays, you're in the wrong day. It's not just fitness, not just motivation, but transformation, because too many black men are walking around looking strong while silently collapsing internally. We know how to survive, we know how to grind, perform, but do we know how to rest? Do we know how to proceed and process the pain? Do we know how to heal? Today, we connect the mind, the body, and the money, because your stress affects your health. Your health affects your focus, and your focus affects your future. So today, we have a gentleman by the name of Alfonso Watkins. And as we are getting prepared to set him up to get on the mic, I have to remind everybody that as long as it's Mindful Monday, Mindful Movement Monday, we have to remember that I have a challenge out to all of Milwaukee. Matter of fact, not just all of Milwaukee, but everybody that's listening to the Grapevine on the Truth Station 101.7 FM. And if you are a dedicated listener, you probably heard me say that I need to have everybody talk to somebody so we can get at least 100 subscribers on our channel. And that was probably a week and some change ago. So I'm going to ask Zach if we had 100 subscribers.
I can try to check.
Zach is going to check if we had 100 subscribers. Now, the challenge is, if we did have 100 subscribers, then I get to do 100 push-ups. I'll do 100 push-ups. As a matter of fact, if we don't get 100 subscribers now, then next week, if we get 100 subscribers, then I'll double 100 times 2. I'll do 200 push-ups on air, live. So actually, I might even challenge Ray Nitty to do 200 push-ups with me. I mean, he may do 2. I'll do 198. How's that sound for everybody? No comments? If you have any additional chat, please hit us up on the Truth Radio, on the Grapevine 101.7. Hit us in the chat. Or you can give us a shout, 1-833-212-1017, 833-212-1017. And if you are a part of our Mindful Movement Monday show clan, make sure you brush up on those push-ups. Now today we have Alfonso Watkins coming on really soon. And I had a bunch of questions. As a matter of fact, he's a psychologist. And I had a bunch of questions that I wanted to ask him, especially because I know we are in most communities are dealing with something that is hard. And possibly one of the most intriguing dynamics in our community, which is trauma. Excuse me. Trauma is for most of us. Trauma is for most of us a cycle that we are sometimes always in a loop of. And I know for a fact that working in the community, especially if we're thinking about our children, and I'll speak to the children. If we're working in the community, and I'll speak to the children, of course, we have a history of producing generational DNA of trauma and passing it down to our kids. For example, this is just one example, and I heard someone say this on an Instagram live I was listening to a while ago, and he's a very, I guess, prominent person in a specific community, and he said that his child has special needs, and somebody asked whether or not, why does he speak to his child a specific way? And so he says that now he not only speaks to his child a specific way, but he also gives him a pop on his hand or his leg whenever he feels like he needs correction. And my thought around that is that, if we are to develop some level of strong character, I think one of the ways is, especially for our community, one of the ways is dropping out of the generational harm. That's one of the ways in which we can not produce children who are harming other folks. The other way is, and I'm bringing these up in generalities because I actually want Brother Alfonso to address this. So one of the other ways is for us as parents to produce strong tone while talking with our children. A lot of times I go into the store and I see parents that are under some level of stress because they want to get in and out of the store without a child touching a candy bar, or they want to get in and out of the store without the child running away or running around. Without running around. So I think one of the best ways for our parents one of the best ways for us to address trauma in the present and also present sense is look at the way we talk to our children. Talking to a child in a really harsh tone, and we all have done it as parents. Talking to your child in a harsh tone without them understanding, even if you are playing, if they don't understand that tone, can be misconstrued as them being zinged by you. It's giving them a ding. So I've seen back to the store, I've seen parents, especially moms, give the child a tone in which they had to kind of come out of their femininity, right, and kind of ruffle the child's feathers. And that is something that I'm really concerned about in our community that I want to talk to Mr. Alfonso Watkins about. I think that it's an issue in our community, and it definitely needs to be addressed. I think the other thing is whether or not, and I'm gonna kind of bring this up really softly, is school. Are the schools addressing trauma from...
Just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nhtsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem, they just blurt it out and move on.
Well, I lost my job and my parakeet is missing. How was your day?
But the real world is different. Managing life's challenges can be overwhelming. So, what do? We get support. The Huntsman Mental Health Institute and the Ad Council have mental health resources available for you at loveyourmindtoday.org. That's loveyourmindtoday.org. See how much further you can go when you take care of your mental health.
Welcome back with that fire beat. This is the Truth Radio 101.7, and you are back with your host, Manon Sabir. That's me, and this is the Grapevine. If you need to call in, please call in 833-212-1017. We have on our line the brother, the great brother, Alfonso Watkins. How you doing, brother?
Peace and blessings to you, family. I'm doing good, man. Good to see you, Brian.
Good to see you, too. So I'm going to get right into it because, we don't have a lot of time, and that's almost indicative of our lifespan on Earth, right? So real quick, and maybe not as quick, but who are you?
Man, I am the son of Brian and Bernice Watkins, man. They migrated to Milwaukee, Wisconsin, man, in the late 40s and 50s, man.
Yeah.
And I'm a product of the city of Milwaukee. I was part of the that integration piece in the 70s that disrupted the flow of our community, our families, and our culture. I bear witness to the reality of when the manufacturing jobs and industrial jobs left our communities. Again, it just destroyed the fabric of our community and our families, man. I watched some very good, strong brothers and sisters, man, go from working every day, man, to being strung out on crack. Crack was really the first drug in our community where Black women abandoned their children.
Right.
So when you ask who I am, I'm a product of all of that, man.
So why do Black men struggle to express emotion?
When you talk about the condition or the state of mind of Black men, you first have to acknowledge the insanity of the European male. So a lot of times we want to start a conversation on talking about the victim. And a lot of times based on who's listening, we're always saying we pulling out the race card or the victim card, but we ain't born this way, man.
Right.
So there's a reality to how we are being socialized within this cultural orientation, within the construct of this European male. So Black males, we have always been under attack here in this ideal and experiment called America. So when we start talking about our emotional development and our emotional growth, it is in a state of arrested development. Because we haven't been given, or we haven't had the opportunity of the freedom of expression.
Right.
And historically, when Black men have expressed their freedom of expression, they have been killed or lynched or assassinated.
Mm.
So there's a reality to why we struggle and again, Du Bois, man, when Du Bois was talking about the duality of consciousness, so double consciousness, that's exactly what he was talking about. We as Black men go through it's a crisis within our identity as it relates to navigating through a system that is constantly assaulting or attacking our identity. So we struggle with being able to express emotions and nurture ourselves and our women and children in a way that is healthy. Now, I'm not necessarily generalizing.
Right.
There are some brothers, man, who have acquired the resilience to be healthy or strive to be healthy.
Right.
But then there's a large percentage of brothers who haven't acquired those, I'm gonna say those emotional competencies or emotional intelligence to do that.
Mm. So is this the reason why you became a psychologist?
Well, man, I appreciate that, man. I'm a licensed clinical psychotherapist. I'm right up under the psychologists and psychiatrists.
Exactly.
I'm able to provide the services that are in DMS5 that the diagnoses are.
Yes.
So with that said, I got a master's degree in educational psychology and a bachelor's degree in community education. But then I went and got licensed as a licensed professional counselor.
Right.
And no, I didn't choose this, man. This game chose me, man. Sometimes, man, when you submit to the will of the Creator, man, He moves you in directions and puts you where He wants you to be.
Yes.
I started off in teaching, man. When I got out the military, man, I was going to school to teach and got a job at Malcolm X Academy over there when they was doing the Afrocentric program.
Yeah.
But once that experience working at Fulton, it was Fulton,
Robert
then it was
Fulton.
Malcolm X. So OGs know it is Fulton, and then you know it's Malcolm X.
Yeah.
But that experience gave me a little more insight to how poverty and again the impoverished conditions that I was working with those young brothers, what they was coming through, moved me into psychology.
What?
So it moved me out of the classroom and into the field of psychology.
So you have a lot of experience with young boys, especially Black young boys. Are Black boys taught? I think about like emotional suppression. Do we run away from emotional suppression?
I mean, I don't know if we necessarily run away from it. I just think we haven't been given or had the opportunity to develop in a way that is natural. So again, when you talk about the state of arrested development, and it's not just impacting Black boys, man, our baby girls, all of us are impacted by these circumstances and conditions that hinder our human development. So when you think about environmental and social conditions that we have to navigate through, it keeps us in a state of hypervigilance. And so in that hypervigilance, there's a chemical reaction and a chemical response to always having to be hyper alert, hypersensitive. So the brain never gets an opportunity to recalibrate, or we never get an opportunity to relax. So when you start talking about emotions, there's a physiological and biological response to again these environmental and social conditions, especially the toxic social conditions of living in poverty, man.
What is our because a lot of us somehow a lot of families have never seen a successful journey out of poverty. How does our past here in America help us understand how to leave poverty? What happens? Is there a disconnect?
Well, now when you when you asked me who I am, and I gave you a historical context of who I am, Now, there's a collective historical experience that we got to talk about when we talk about poverty, and how poverty has impacted or hindered our human development, or our divine, or given us or not giving us opportunity to reach our divine human potential. So when you talk about in the 70s, man, before we integrated, those of us who are in our 50s and 60s that was part of that experience, we seen productive black men and black women.
Yeah.
Because when we was going to school, they was going to work.
Yeah.
So there was a reality to what that experience was doing for us in our community. We walked to school. So, I mean, I can remember walking from 33rd and Hour to Townsend on 43rd and Sherman. We walked past the teachers' houses that we was being taught by.
Yeah. Yeah.
You know, we walked past the dentist, the doctor. So our people lived in the community that we was in. So we witnessed that. So we're really the last generation that witnessed the productivity of our brothers and sisters when they had access to a job.
Yeah.
So when you think about what happened again when they moved those manufacturing jobs and them industrial jobs out of those urban areas, it just devastated the community. And so the hustle became that, man. Capitalism, the hustle. A lot of brothers and sisters didn't have access to jobs, and brothers was getting out of high school going get a good job. All that ended.
How?
So again, you got to, when we talk about this, Manon, we always got to look at it from a historical context.
Yes.
We always got to lay out the historical context, and that's what we got to educate our babies on, man. We got to help our babies understand how we got in this condition, because we ain't born like this, man.
No, we weren't. I know Naeem Akbar has a book called "The Psychological Effects of Slavery." We're living that book now, aren't we?
Yeah, man, we in it, man. And Dr. Joy DeGruy, man, her piece, man, post-traumatic stress syndrome.
Yes.
She really laid out some heavy pieces. I mean, Neely Fuller, man, his book on racism lays out a good construct for us to function out of. Dr. Amos Wilson.
Yes.
All of his books, man, lay out, like I say, a historical context. Now, as a clinician, man, our initial assessment is called biopsychosocial assessment. So we start off like that with a client, but we got to start looking at our collective experience and start looking at how we have evolved out of the conditions of chattel slavery from a spiritual, psycho-bio historical context. So a lot of times we start off the conversation talking about as a collective, then we move into the individual. I just think we need to stay grounded in talking about our experience from a collective experience.
And as we talk about our collective experience, make sure you give us a shout on our phone line, 833-212-1017. You're on the Truth Radio 101.7. This is the Grapevine with me, Manon Sabir. We're going to take a break and pay these bills. We'll be right back. Yes. Welcome back to the Grapevine on the Truth Radio Station 101.7. I'm Manon Sabir, and we're going to get busy. I got plenty of questions, but we don't have a whole lot of time. Make sure you give us a shout. 833-212-1017. We're back with Alfonso Watkins, psychotherapist, correctly. I always call him the psychologist, but man, you deal with the mind. And I had a question.
Okay.
What are some signs that a black man it kind of exudes when he is mentally exhausted before he like completely breaks down? This is a selfish question.
I mean, yeah. Well, I think there's a number of different signs, man, when we get to a place where we are overwhelmed, depending on your level of resilience, depending on your coping mechanisms, depending on your ability to find support systems. All of that plays a factor, and you get to a place when you are unable to manage and regulate your emotional responses to the challenges of daily living. So a lot of brothers mask their circumstances with behavioral addictions. I mean, with sex, gambling. Some brothers go to the alcohol, to the weed. So like I said, there's a range of symptoms. I think brothers, to our when you start talking about a strength base, I think there's just a number of us who just acquire a coping mechanism where we just continue to work through it. And that's just been something that we've just had to do. But I think moving into this, coming out of COVID, I just think a lot of brothers have recognized the importance of their mental health and seeking out help, and not using things to mask what they are experiencing. It's a lot of brothers doing. I mean, the Real Talks, the barbershop piece really blew up in the country, for brothers to go have a safe space to talk about what they feeling and what they are experiencing. Even out here, I'm in Phoenix, Arizona, but I'm out in Sun City, and it's more of a retired community right now. But I mean, it's a lot of brothers that's coming in to get support, because now it's not taboo,
right?
So it's a lot. So like I said, there's a change in the perceptions and perspectives of what therapy is, what counseling is, and the benefits of it.
Do you think a lot of Black men are depressed right now without even realizing it?
I think a lot of us are. Now, as a clinician, I normally don't go straight to the depression. You know what I'm saying? Because a lot of times depression, you internalizing like something wrong with you. But the depression is a result of suppression.
Okay.
Depression is the result of oppression. So there's a reality to how we engage with this from a neurolinguistics perspective. So a lot of brothers are dealing with being oppressed and don't have the coping skills to manage what's oppressing them.
Right.
And then a lot of brothers, we suppress a lot of things. And so in the suppression of a lot of things, we internalize a lot of things. And a lot of times that shows up, it comes out misdirected.
Right.
In certain phases and spaces. So again, I don't necessarily go straight to the depression. Yes, I think a lot of brothers are dealing with depression, but I think we need to, as a clinician, I try to help my clients understand that there's a spectrum before you get to a stage of depression.
Yeah.
There's a spectrum in helping individuals understand what oppression is, and then how you suppress what you're dealing with, which can lead to depression.
So do you see people from across the range of folks coming in? You see the gangster, you see the boardroom person, you see the husband, you see the son of the husband who comes in. They might be coming into the same person. You see them all.
Oh yeah, for sure, man. I do a lot of work with a lot of vets, man. A lot of vets, man. Air Force, Marine, Navy. What's the other one, man? I'm missing one.
Yeah, Air Force, Marine, Navy.
Army. Army. I always get Army a hard time. I get Army a hard time. They think they real, but they.
That's all right.
Yeah, but yeah, man. I'm working in the spectrum, man. So I've worked with millionaires, man. I've worked with entertainers. I've worked with professional athletes, pilots, and like I say, the homeless. I mean, the Native American brothers and sisters, man. A lot of them that got caught up in the game with this meth and this fentanyl. Yeah. So when it comes to, I'm gonna say the spectrum of demographics that I've had the experience to work with, I'm well versed in that space, man.
Since and I coined today Mindful Movement Mondays, and I had a question in relationship to movement too, because I think everything is connected. And I know you're a holistic thinker. What actually happens psychologically when a person begins to consistently work out from your perspective?
And I'm living that. You know what I'm saying? So it gives your body the opportunity to produce healthy dopamine and serotonin.
Mm-hmm.
It gives your body to opportunity to move and channel energy.
Right.
You know, so the working out, it gives your body an opportunity to detox because you sweating.
Right.
So there's just a wealth of benefits of a lifestyle of working out. Now, then the other piece of that is your nutrition.
Mm-hmm.
So the value of living a healthy lifestyle and drinking water with lemon and limes in it to get to, you know, the alkaline, eating a lot of fruits and vegetables, intermittent fasting.
Mm-hmm.
So all of those benefits of working out a healthy nutritional lifestyle. And then there's reality to the spiritual aspect of working out, man.
Yeah.
You know, being able to go into a space and work out, and just during my workouts, I'm meditating, man. I'm not in the gym, you know, lollygagging, man, you know, looking at the eye candies. I mean, it gets difficult sometimes, but the reality of the reality of being able to go into that space and meditate while you in movement,
mm-hmm.
and moving that energy. So yeah, man, that's critical, man.
So have you seen fitness if we just talk about fitness, right, rather than the aesthetics? Have we seen fitness? Have you seen fitness save lives?
Oh, for sure, man. Yes. In the work that I do, man, I'm a non-traditional type therapist, man. So, and what I mean by that, I use a number of different approaches working with the individuals that allow me in this intimate space with them.
Right.
So there's a reality to helping individuals begin to always suggest to my clients that they go get their blood work done,
mm-hmm.
so that they can find out what their blood levels are.
Right.
Because your mental health is impacted by your nutrition and the minerals that you are in, that you're digesting. The other piece of that, once they find out what their blood levels are, I talk to them about the reality. It's called biochemical nutrient therapy.
Mm-hmm.
And all that means is helping individuals engage in if your protein, your zinc, your amino acids, your folic acids, your iron, you got to get it to it's like a baseline.
Right.
So you can go on a particular diet to enhance that, and you start to feel better. But also what I try to get, especially a lot of my older clients, to get them to start off doing water aerobics, because a lot of them jump right off into getting on the treadmill.
Yeah, they jump right into the deep water.
Yeah, right. So I try to help them understand and start off in the water aerobics, mm-hmm. so that they can start getting their ligaments, the ligaments and joints and muscles used to that. And it's just a real good cardio exercise, but it gets you prepared to start, you know, walking and being on the treadmill. So that's something that I do in the context of the clients that I work with.
We have a caller on line 1. We have Eddie on line 1.
How you doing? Can you hear me?
Eddie, what's going on?
I got a new phone, so can you guys hear me?
Yeah, we can hear you.
One of my friends is complaining.
Okay. We can hear you.
So where do we start with this? So I think, and I'm going to say it, I've been on the station for 5 years, and people are always upset with me every day, all the time, but I'm trying to speak the truth to this, okay?
Mm-hmm.
So African-American urban behavior is different from African culture, you know, boys from 16 to 36, let's say, and European culture, the blacks that grow up in Amsterdam or Paris, France, or Rome, Italy, they don't seem to have this aggressive kind of chronic propensity towards violence. And we would have to say that, you know, people are talking, even white liberals are starting to kind of wake up like the black violence is a problem. And when the statistic is for every one white guy from 16 to 36 who commits a homicide, there are 62 black men from that age group who commit homicides. Now, that's not 62% more. That's, you know, 62 times the amount. And we have to also remember for every one person who is shot or stabbed and killed, there are 8, 9, or 10 that are shot, but now the fellow's in a wheelchair. Shot, but now he's wearing a colostomy bag. Shot, but now he can't see out of his left eye. And that stuff impacts lives, okay? So there's something distinctly American about this. And the evidence about this is, like I've said this before, when you have a top-notch athlete, he's a young man, he grew up always in an urban area, streets of Detroit, streets of Cleveland, streets of Philadelphia. When he signs that big contract, as down as he is with being black and telling everybody he loves black culture, he moves to a white neighborhood, and he often grabs a white woman, and he's trying to kind of graft himself into white culture.
Well, let's talk about that.
Because of the violence.
Yeah, Eddie,
Okay.
Eddie, let's talk about that, because I want to give our time, and this is you brought up some interesting points, but I want to give some time back to our guest Alfonso Watkins, who is our psychotherapist. Sure. But yes, stay on the line. We're gonna
got it.
We're gonna make sure that we give time to Brother Alfonso.
Sure,
you have some good points. Thank you.
Okay.
A lot of times when when our European family talk about their perception of the reality of what we are experiencing being black in America, I think a lot of times many of them are not quite informed about what our experience has been. So when we talk about violence, European males have always historically been some of the most violent people on the planet. And so there's a reality to when we start throwing out statistics, these statistics are many times they're skewed, they're not accurate. But when we start talking about what has happened to the black male in America, there's a reality to biological and chemical warfare. So and let me give y'all from an epigenetics perspective. That's why I'm always talking to individuals about their blood levels. Now, historically, our communities were infiltrated with these lead. So lead plays a major influence on how the brain develops. So when I was working in Milwaukee, I would always tell my black parents to go get their babies' blood lead levels checked. And they need to get their own lead levels checked, because the damage that lead does to the brain, it's irreversible. But also the damage that it does to the brain, it causes individuals to be violent. So there's reality to when we start talking about what we're seeing, there's a chemical imbalance that is happening within these environments that our people are in.
And that's
yeah. So there's a reality to the behaviors that we're seeing in black males in America has to do with the socialization of being in America. We're not born this way. So there's something happening in the socialization of black males in America.
And that's
and that's, go ahead, Manon.
And that's where we're gonna pick that up after these bills are paid on the Grapevine.
And where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
Yeah, I like that beat, Zach. Hey, we're back on the Grapevine with Brother Alfonso Watkins. Pick up where we left off, and then we're going to take a caller real quick.
Yeah, and like I said, I just when we start talking about violence, man, like I said, I just think it does. Us as black males, we tend to be the face of that. And I just think a lot of times people buy into that narrative. But the reality of violence throughout from a historical context, in the 1920s and the 1930s, during the abolitionist movement, European males was killing each other up. I mean, just barbarically. So there's a reality to what's happening in these different eras, in these different communities. So again, even right now, the reality of when you start talking about mass shootings, that's European males. that's doing these mass shootings, that's going to these schools and shooting innocent women, baby, and children. So there's a reality to something is happening in the socialization of this ideal and experiment of America. And we as Black males tend to be the face of that, but it's unjust and it's unfair and it's unrealistic.
It seems like it's a deliberate propaganda machine that puts Black males at the face of that. Am I correct, or am I off base?
But it is the propaganda, because after the Civil War, one of the first movies that they created was called Birth of a Nation.
Right.
And so the Birth of a Nation was the beginning of the demonizing of Black males, of criminalizing Black males. So again, when you start talking about the propaganda started in like I say, in about the 1800s, and it has been persistent and consistent since then.
Let me take this caller real quick. Al, you're on line 2. Al.
Well, yes, good. Yes, first thing I want to say is Black people can never be the leader in crime, because when you look at how America was built, it was built off of violence. White violence. And I hate to let the last caller know, y'all the leader in all crimes, from murder, rape, pedophilia to bestiality, and let's not forget it's fraud. Y'all raise y'all kids with violence. Who buys a 7-year-old a Desert Eagle? Who buys Johnny, who's 15 years old, that they know who's going to be a school shooter, an AR-15? And I find it funny, because when you look at all the massacres that happened, it came from white racist women lying. But that does not stop y'all from playing the victim, okay? So Black people can never be the leader in violence. The only problem with our brothers is they have given up, and they want the benefits, but they're not willing to walk through the valley of hell to create their heaven on earth, because they are the only one with the master key. That's why these racist white people always play the victim when they get caught on their violence. And when you look at their history and Black people history, our history ain't dark. Your white history is very dark. What grandfather take their kids to shoot and behead little children? Not Black folks. So don't put your detriment, your failures, and how some of you were raised on
Al.
Black people. Take your Christianity too. Bye.
Thank you, Al. Definitely appreciate it. Brother Alfonso Watkins, we are running out of time. However, I know we got this is just part 1. Am I right?
For sure, brother. I'll definitely come back, man.
Give me what we can do as a group of people, what we can do right now, today, to start that 180 turn, to turn ourselves into superhumans.
I think it's critical, man, that the men and Black men and Black women, emotional maturity and emotion compass, to go into a room and resolve some of our confusion in our relationship. Our children need to see us working collectively together. Our children need to see us working collectively together to solve the problems that they're facing. So I think that's something that we can do now. Right now, man, this movement of this divide and conquer between the Black man and the Black woman is hindering our progress. I think we need to spend more time talking about how do we repair the relationship between Black men and women? How do we begin to have more forums and conversation about the reality of the institution of family? And I think the other piece of that is, I think we have to create, I ain't gonna say I think, I know, we have to create a rites of passage program for our boys and girls to help them understand the role that they have in the family and in the community, but also really to help them understand the importance of sex, reproduction, intimacy, so that we can start to help them be equipped before they even engage in the act of sex and intimacy, the responsibility that comes with producing another human. I think we need to really hone in on that so that we can break this cycle that we in.
I like that. And this is we have 2 minutes, and in this 2-minute piece, I always ask our guests, my guests, about rapid fire questions. And are you ready?
I'm with you, brother.
Cardio or weights?
Both.
Therapy session or hard workout after a stressful day?
Therapy session.
Muhammad Ali or Mike Tyson?
Ali.
Most underrated mental health habit?
Cognitive intervention or journaling.
Yeah, I like that one. Okay. Morning workouts or late night workouts? I know who you are, so go ahead. You can answer this.
Oh yeah,
one.
the morning. The morning, man. The morning the best.
And last thing, finish this sentence. Healing begins when
one embraces the intimate relationship with a higher power.
Where can we find you, Mr. Alfonso Watkins?
Man, I am in Phoenix, Arizona, brother. I ain't hard to find, man. I'm out here doing the same thing I was doing in Milwaukee, man.
That's right. You're on Facebook, working out all the time.
Yeah, I'm on Facebook, man. Yeah, I'm.
Mixing, remixing.
I'll take
Great
beautiful, brother. I'm a fill-in.
This is what it's about. Fill-ins, the grapevine and the fill-ins. Hey, look, this is Mindful Movement Mondays. Today we're talking about the connection between movement, mental health, discipline, stress, and healing. Because many of us are carrying stress on our backs, anxiety, stomachs, trauma in our sleep, and exhaustion in our minds, and sometimes the body just starts screaming. Mm-hmm. When the spirit has been whispering all far too long. Ray.
Yes, sir.
Man, that was, I think the information from that last segment is very interesting, but I wanted to know, You've been under some stress.
Sure, yeah, absolutely. Been under a little stress.
Are you a little stressed right now?
I'm pretty good right now. Healthy stress.
Does smiling, because we're smiley guys.
Yeah,
this is a smiley type of atmosphere here.
Yeah, for sure.
Are we? Does it look like we're under stress, or are we masking things? What do you think?
So I know for me, a lot of times the smile is a mask. I wear, just kind of to present to the outside world that everything is okay, while trying to balance, all types of different fires going on the inside, and different emotions and mental struggles. But you still got to try to show up in a positive manner in the world. So that's why I think I try to smile a lot. Not like I'm just full of this stress and I'm about to explode. But I do wear the smile as a mask sometimes.
When you are going throughout the day, do you feel? Sometimes I feel stress in my stomach. Like even today, it's been a lot going on, and I know as the day wears on, I'm just like holding everything in until I explode outwards. You ever been like that though?
Yeah, absolutely. You feel it in your stomach. I think for me, a lot of stress is retained like right behind your eye sockets, and in your head you feel, or the back of your head, you feel like a little stress tension. That's why I feel it a lot more. And then sometimes stress for me shows up in like a physical manifestation of like actually being sick.
Right.
To where it's like, dang, I need to sit down for 48 hours and just let this feeling pass through. But yeah, so it shows up in a couple different ways for me.
Man, chronic stress is real though.
Absolutely.
That like, I think if we look at like people living in survival mode, a lot of moms, a lot of people who are single and, you know, a nuclear family, you can be in that survival mode, and you're always constantly like hunting for the next thing.
Yeah.
And I recognize that you can recognize that, you know, from afar, especially if you've ever been in survival mode. Even if you're comfortable, you recognize that a person running back and forth trying to do things almost like they have ADHD or some whatever type of, you know, they're in survival mode.
Yeah.
How do you ever been you ever been in survival mode like that?
I'm gonna say this, and it may be an unpopular take.
Yeah.
I think as Black men, Black women, Black people in general, I feel like there's always some sort of survival mode that we're in, right? No matter how well off we think we are, no matter how successful we think we are, there's still this experience of feeling like, oh, I'm still in survival mode, right? It doesn't have to be financially. It could be like, okay, I'm walking out the house, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
You get pulled over, you know what I'm saying? And not saying every encounter with law enforcement is a negative one, but there is, like, I have to be honest, there is a sense of anxiety that comes over you, and you go into this like survival mode of like, okay, what's the right responses? How do I make sure this is interaction where everybody just goes back to their respectful places?
Right. I remember if you bring up cops, I remember one night I was coming from a friend's house, and I got pulled over by the cops. And it was about like 1:30, and I had a Ford Taurus station wagon, and at the time I was moving my clothes, and I had a whole bunch of bags, stuff in the car, and I had the stuff in there, and I was gonna go put the stuff in my mom's basement or something like that, right? And cop pulled me over. And
these bags. What you got in these bags?
Oh, listen, it was close. But right before, as I'm going through an alley coming from my friend's house, and I hear whoop whoop whoop, and I hear like cops all over the neighborhood, and I'm thinking, oh, that's not for me. So I pull to the end of the alley, and I see this cop come racing to my car. So he tells me to pull around to the right side of the street. Pull around to the right side of the street. He turns his lights on, tells me to step out the car. Initially my thought is like, man, I don't got to step out the car. There's no warrant for my arrest. But I knew it was just me and him.
Yeah.
And so he came out real aggressive. So I was like, all right, I don't have anything in this car. He pulls me out, and like, I'm nervous now. And he questions me or whatever. He says, we had a report that suspicious vehicle, blah blah, and you fit the description of somebody who.
Ain't it crazy how we always fit the description?
I was fitting the description. I fit the description like clearly, because he was like, you fit the description of somebody who slashed a woman's throat.
Oh,
and I was like, nah, that ain't me. That is not me, right? And so I tell him that, and
how did they get your description to even say you fit
exactly?
That's a wild question.
They made up a whole, they had made up a whole story. So I'm in the handcuffs. He throws me in the back of the car, and I don't know if the window was rolled down or not, but he goes into my car, and I can see him like just rip things up, like in my car, in the back of the car. Everything is being thrown all over the place. In the radio, I can hear we got him. We're chasing him.
Yeah,
those words. We got him. We're chasing him. Come all units. Blah blah blah. Whatever they said. He takes me out, uncuffs me. I'm pushed to the side. He throws my keys in the field, and gets in his car, takes off. So now
you gotta go look for your keys.
I look for my keys at night in a field, and my car is wrecked.
Terrible.
Wrecked. So that in turn, that initial, because I was younger, that initial kind of real life moment made me super weary of cops. Now my father, on the other hand, he was a different story. He's the cuss out. He was the cuss out king. Yeah. He was like, you pulled him over for a speeding ticket. He's cussing you out. He don't care, right? Me, on the other hand, I'm not my daddy.
Yeah,
I'm not trying to cuss you out to,
create no.
Yeah. Oh,
for
absolutely
sure.
not. Mm-mm.
Yeah, for sure. Now, I definitely remember an experience I had when I was younger, actually, 18 years old. And I will say I was on the way to the lakefront to participate in traffic and cruise, right? But I also understood the laws of cruising.
Right.
Cruising, you have to be spotted more than once within a certain time frame, circulating a certain area. That's what the laws was back then. And they said, we're pulling you over for cruising. And I'm like, well, I just got down the hill. I ain't even made one lap yet, so I know you can't be pulling me over for cruising because I just got here.
Right.
And it's as if when you understand your rights, they try to get a little more aggressive to see if, you provoked to do some other thing. So he snatched me out the car, and I'm like, yo, I wasn't cruising. Where's your proof that I was cruising? You have not seen me circling this area more than a certain amount of times. Took me all the way back to I don't know what the district it is, but the police station on Locust and MLK.
Oh, right. Yeah.
Took me over there.
Yeah.
And just sat me in like the holding room for like an hour and then just released me. No ticket, no nothing like that. And it was just like, I'm like, dang, this is a terrible experience. When you verbalize that you know your rights and you it's not like I was being combative. I wasn't arguing. I was just like, hey, you gotta, like, I just got here.
Right.
So I've always had that anxiety reaffirmed whenever I do get pulled over.
Do you feel like because I feel like this, like every time I work out or something like that, I feel that I'm getting those stresses off of me.
Yeah.
Like every time it feels like a super relief. Like, man, all this stuff goes through your head.
Yeah. For me, yes. Sprinting on the treadmill definitely is it makes me feel that release of that anxiety, that pressure. But for me, man, I like to meditate and sit in silence.
When did you start doing that?
So honestly, I will say my homie DJ Willie Shakes is who put me up on meditation. This had to be right around 2000, let's just call it 13.
Yeah.
Probably some of the darkest times. Bow had settled down, so the ebbs and flows of music. When everything is calm and ain't nobody around no more because you ain't in the club buying bottles. So you had that time of isolation.
You ever brought Ace of Spades though?
I've never bought an Ace of Spade bottle. No, I've been comped an Ace of Spade bottle for that was in my rider.
Okay,
but no, I've never physically purchased a bottle of Ace of Spade.
Okay, sorry. Let me keep.
No, you good, you good. So it was through those times, and he introduced me to. He was in LA at the time, dealing with stress of moving from Milwaukee to Los Angeles, chasing dreams and whatnot. And, it was good to have a homie that you could have these type of conversations with as a black man. But he introduced me to these guided meditation experiences that was being performed by Deepak Chopra and Oprah.
I remember those.
Yeah, so
they
used to be like a 30-day
yeah.
meditation experience, right? Yep. So I started doing that, man. I was like, dang, this feel good, man.
Yeah.
And then I just continue to stick with it, and now I try to implement it in my life as much as I can, even if it's just 2 minutes to just sit in silence and breathe,
right,
and try to quiet that brain. I think our brains are like...
This life-saving care is made possible by a global movement of supporters like you. Thank you.
Mommy, can I sit in the front seat just this one time? Please, please, please.
No, not yet.
But why?
Because I love you, and you're just not ready yet. Now, get in the back so I can get you in your car seat, please.
Putting your kids in the right seat for their age and size is an act of love. Check that your kids are in the right seat at nitsa.gov/the right seat. Love protects. A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
We're back in the Grapevine with Manon Sabir. That's me and my brother Ray Nitty in the co-host Machine Box.
What up?
Seat.
What up?
What's up? So we was just talking about if social media is destroying our peace.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, my opinion, yes.
Yeah, absolutely.
It's destroying our peace, man.
Absolutely. Especially if we use it in the wrong ways as well.
Yeah.
Because it's so easy to get lost in the web of social media.
Right. Yeah. Yeah. It is. I recognize this is a really interesting topic, but I recognize that I had a friend who was telling me that some of his relationships broke up over the social media kind of piece, right?
Yeah.
And he was saying that his partner was addicted to social media so much that the partner happened to just utilize the influence of social media to, yeah. So I'm not going to go too far into that situation because they're probably listening. But yes,
telling my business.
Tell my business. But yeah, so social media is destroying a lot of pieces. Matter of fact, I reckon there's a professor, and I probably said this before, but there's a professor that took a study on social media and he correlated social media with the rise of teen suicide. And they said the moment social media came about, then teen suicide kind of started upticking.
Right.
Have you recognized that too?
I definitely saw that study. I definitely noticed a rise in, I can't say that I've noticed a rise in suicide for teens, but I've definitely noticed a rise in, and not saying that it doesn't exist, right?
Right.
Because I do believe there is some sort of, I'm just saying I haven't really saw anything for that, me personally.
Right.
But I have seen a lot of young people talking about the mental stress that social media puts on their lives. Wanting to fit in or seeing all of their peers have all of these things on their highlight reels on social media and feeling like, they're using all of these filters to make their lips look juicy and all of this, you know what I mean? All of these other things. And it brings a sense of insecurity for... It brings a sense of insecurity for some people, right?
Yeah.
And they start to judge their own lives based off of the things that they see.
Right.
So I just, try to encourage people that, don't always believe the highlight reel on social media.
It's comparison culture, man. I was in Miami, and look, let me tell you, in Miami, what happens is, especially like if you are in the tourist areas, so you already know about this. Like in Miami Beach, if you're living there, you know the influencers when you see them. So on Tuesday to Sunday night, maybe Monday morning, you get the influencers.
Yeah.
On Thursday to Sunday, you get the influencers. On Monday morning to Wednesday night, you get the regular person. Yeah. So when you see the influencer, you're like, oh my gosh, that's the influencer.
They're on the weekend. Yeah.
Then you see him at Publix. Or you see him at Walgreens.
Just normal life.
And then you see him at, going into the Botox injection place, and they're like, they're looking swollen.
Yeah.
But we already know that they have to repeat this process over and over again, while also going broke.
Yeah.
Building their influence and their brand.
Yeah.
These people are literally compare, like they're the top tier of us trying to compare ourselves to them.
Yep, absolutely.
Comparison culture.
Yep, absolutely.
Is it wrecking us? I think it is.
I think it's definitely detrimental to us. I think it's easy to just say social media, right?
Right.
But I think it's how we use it, how we overuse social. So using myself for an example, right?
Right.
I've found myself just opening and closing apps, just scrolling, just like a robot, like not even looking for nothing, bro. Just Instagram, TikTok, boom, just scrolling, boom, then out of there, then back to what I was doing. And then 2 seconds later, pick up your phone. It's like, or you see a little notification, you got to run to your phone and pick it up because you feel like, oh, I don't want to miss whatever that notification. And it's just Temu. You know what I mean? Trying to tell you, open this prize.
With the fake jewelry.
Yeah. So
the Chad Ochocinco's jewelry.
I think it is doing a detriment to our society because everybody wants to be an influence. Everybody wants to be loved. Everybody wants to be liked.
Right.
I say it's them likes is probably one of the most dangerous drugs right now, man.
Is it?
I think so. The social media likes,
Yeah.
trying to get them little hearts and them
Yeah.
followers and the blue checks and all of these things. Man, people like look at it. People doing all kinds of crazy things for the likes and to go viral.
Is it normal? I mean, now it's normal. It's become a part of life. Like
I still not knocking anybody. I also want to use his drop, the something he says as a drop for the truth.
Yeah.
But it's a guy, he literally goes in Walmart and pours cereal and milk on himself.
Oh yeah.
And you're like, it's the truth. And it's like, I don't want that to be my thing. You know what I'm saying? I'm just anywhere just pouring flour on me and milk and giving a positive message, but that's the thing that you have to use to catch people's attention. And I'm like, man, is the message not as valuable without the antics? You know what I mean? So I feel like, okay, the message gets lost because of all the antics that we see with social media.
Yeah, our kids are addicted to it too. I've seen kids like have complete meltdowns just because they couldn't get the screen,
couldn't get in,
or
lost their account or something.
Right? Yeah.
And I understand that too because for some of these influencers, that is their business.
Right.
You know what I mean? So I could sit here and humble myself and say, like, some people do have a livelihood that they need these pages so they could provide for their families and do the things that they do.
There was this guy, another researcher, who said that the majority of apps are geared towards people who have feminine qualities and or are women. And they said because and if you can even look at the app, and the app itself has like, a rounded quality. It's not jagged, what I'm saying? Like some roughneck dude, that just came from the gym, right?
Yeah.
Like it looks
smooth.
good. It's smooth, right?
It's
even
aesthetically pleasing.
Right. You look at your phone, you got to take care of it. It look like, if you crack your phone, you're definitely going to iBreaks, you fix, or iFix, you break, whatever. You break, iFix. You go on there.
Absolutely. Man, even the phones
I'm not
itself
trying to drop
is
it for,
No, even the phones itself is a trap, in my opinion. Like, why would we make phones out of glass? Why? Why? Why are iPhones like? Why would we? The most dropped thing from humans is what you either drop your keys, your phone.
Yep.
And it's like, let's make it glass.
Yeah. So you don't drop it.
So, but you
gonna
still
drop
it. And then we do things like don't put a case on it. So now we have to go to this. You break, I fix, whatever companies that fix these things. I just think we've become so reliant on these products and these apps and so forth that we will just ignore so many things and just continue to follow the herd.
There's a saying that you got to treat your, there's a saying that you have to treat your woman, the lady that you're with.
Yeah.
Is terms if you're a guy of this genre, treat your woman like glass. Treat your wife, your partner like glass.
Don't want to drop her.
Don't want to drop her. Don't want to fumble.
Might break it.
Might break.
Can't put it back together.
You can't put.
Love you, baby.
Love you, baby. I can't. We about to go to you break, I fix.
Don't go anywhere. Straight up.
You know what? Yeah, I don't know. Our phone culture is really disturbing.
Yeah.
And I'm trying to figure it out, but the more we try to figure it out, the more deeper they go. They go really, really deep.
Oh, yeah, it's only gonna get more. These ain't even phones no more. These are like computers in our pocket, you know. So
they spying on us too. But we're gonna
absolutely.
be right back. We're gonna take these breaks, these next couple of breaks. We're gonna pay some bills. We'll be right back. This is The Truth Radio 101.7 The Grapevine.
Warriors at woundedwarriorproject.org/America.
We're back in The Grapevine with Manon Sabir, that's me, and our dear brother Ray Nitty in the co-host machine booth, Mike. Hey, call in 833-212-1017. This is Mindful Movement Mondays. Triple M. We're talking health, wellness, healing. Do you hide in the bathroom, man?
I probably, yeah.
Who hides in the bathroom?
Yeah, I definitely spend a little bit extra time in the bathroom. Yes, I could say that.
Yeah. And it's not for the obvious. It's like, I need a break.
Yeah, it's just a little solitude.
Yeah. It's like, it reminds me of like when, you know, how you ever pull up to the house and you sit into the driveway or whatever, you sit in your car.
Yeah.
You just, especially if like, you know, you're just a little bit too, you know, even if you're not on social media like that and you're looking to do, you know, influencer and all influencer stuff on social media, like some of that stuff, one, that influencing, being an influencer in your community is huge. Like I think that if majority of our young folks seen people such as yourself, because, you know, lose weight, get in shape, like they will start to emulate the same, you know, tactics.
Yeah.
I'm fasting today too.
Yeah.
So I woke up and today was like, all right, you know what? I'm not gonna eat. I'm not gonna eat probably for a good 2 days. I just need to just take a break.
2 days.
Yeah. Yeah.
So I'm not Muslim.
Are you out of your damn mind?
But
man, the caller, I really appreciate you, man.
Appreciate that. The
yes,
caller.
sir.
I appreciate y'all show, man.
Yeah, keep
y'all
listening.
talking about health and can I give you two more things?
Yeah, go ahead.
From
go
a
ahead.
scientific.
Yeah, for sure.
Wheaties with fruit, as far as that defecating and, you know, getting.
Say that one more time. You said what with fruit? Could you say that one more time?
Wheaties. Wheaties or high fiber cereal.
Wheaties.
Like
Wheaties. Yep. Wheaties.
Another one is cashew cereal and fresh spinach, which is very inexpensive. You can get that at most grocery stores for $2 a bunch, and you can make salads for a day and a half with adding strawberries or blueberries, and you'll find yourself much more fulfilled by eating that, and maybe adding a little bit of chicken or some salmon with it, and keeping those carbs out of that, you know, and that has worked for me.
Yo, the call.
I feel sick, nauseous, but it's like, dang, I love ribs. You know what I mean? But it's like I had to get that up.
Yeah.
Fried food, even like, you know, how your body reacts to fried food,
right?
You could tell. And yeah, man, it's just certain things just don't sit right in our bodies, and we just gotta pay attention to our bodies and how it reacts to certain foods.
That's right. Hey, we got Ray Nitty in the co-host machine box booth microphone. He's in the Truth Radio Station 101.7, and this the Grapevine. He's gonna be filling in for me later on and he's gonna interview a good friend of mine, real good friend of mine, named Jeff Lewis. He's a financial literacy coach. He's coming up. So you guys make sure you tune in at 3:00. But real quick, if you are using
more. So if you're ready to trade roomies for more room, or your townhome for an out-of-town home, UW Credit Union will be with you from start to furnished. UW Credit Union. Apply online today. Equal housing lender. Credit may be limited as required by program. Visit uwcu.org for details.
Here's the deal. We gotta set ourselves up. See, retirement is the long game. We gotta make moves and make them early. Set up goals. Don't worry about a setback. Just save up and stack up to reach them. Let's put ourselves in the right position. Pre-game to greater things.
Start building your retirement plan at thisispretirement.org. Brought to you by AARP and the Ad Council.
For 75 years, the Muscular Dystrophy Association's voices have thundered through the halls of Congress.
For 75 years, we've willed the impossible into existence.
For 75, feel comfortable, but it could save a life. Here's a way to start a conversation. Your family is going over to your neighbor's home for dinner for the first time. How would you ask if there are any unlocked guns in the home?
Hey, we're so excited for tonight. Before we come over, though, may I ask if there are any unlocked guns in your home?
Our guns are stored securely, locked in a safe that the kids can't access.
Awesome.
Learn how to have the conversation at agreetoagree.org. Brought to you by the Ad Council.
Wherever there's a need in our communities, there's a United Way. Improving lives so everyone can thrive. Where more people can gain access to healthcare and nutritious food for their tables. Where more community members can benefit from financial education and get connected to local resources for housing support. And where children are given more chances to reach their full potential. Community is where we find our strength and where we share our hope. United is the way. Visit unitedway.org.
In sitcoms, when someone has a problem,
a savings account or preferably an investment account that's going to grow over time in the stock market. You mentioned SpaceX, Anthropic, all these companies are going public. So whenever companies go public, that means it's a huge, amount of people who are getting very, very wealthy over that time period. I often tell, I relate it to sports. So you know how, NBA draft night or NFL draft day where you see these people walking on stage getting paid millions of dollars. In the corporate America, that is their version of that, right? So when these companies IPO, the people who have been there from early on days or the first couple of employees or first 100, these people are instant millionaires, like overnight. And so, a healthy relationship with money is ensuring that, like, even if you're not a SpaceX employee, that you are the individual who is, being really, really smart around your finances. And that starts with day one of just, if you go back to the 50s and 60s. And now we're really feeling the effects of that. So oftentimes when people pass away and their grandparents or their parents left them houses or trusts or all this money, a lot of that wasn't even feasible for Black and brown folks. But the way to address that moving forward is to be on your P's and Q's. So investing in things that are actually going to grow, right? Like real estate. I'm not the one to shade folks who are spending money on whether it be shoes or jewelry or diamonds, because everybody has their interests, but you want to invest in things that are actually going to appreciate over time. Cars actually depreciate over time unless you're investing in like collectibles, like classic cars. Most cars are going to lose their value as soon as you drive them off the lot. So, as a wealth advisor, people are asking me, like, how can I create generational wealth? First and foremost, so if you were to lose your job tomorrow, right, and you spend $5,000 a month, you should have $15,000 that is either in savings or can be quickly liquidated through other investments as your safe haven. If you're a dual income household, they would say you can actually err on the side of 3 months opposed to the 6 months, but they say 3 to 6 months is the general rule of thumb. Now, problem that we run into today is, as you mentioned, everything is so expensive. So I think I was reading an article in Wall Street Journal that said groceries are up like 150% since 2020. So where we get into the problem is things are getting more expensive, but despite things getting more expensive, the biggest trap that people run into is saying, I'm going to start saving and I'm going to start living the right way when I start making X amount of money.
Yeah.
And that's the wrong way to think about saving and investing and just having a relationship with money.
Mm-hmm.
So the amount of people that I've met who, you know, when I got out of college and they were making 50, 60 grand a year and they said, hey, when I start making six figures, I'm going to save 5 to 10% of my income. But if they weren't already saving 5 to 10% of their income when they were making half the money, then they weren't going to do it when they, you know, started making six figures. Because what happens is you just level up, right? You get a nicer apartment that you live at, you buy a nicer car, you go out to eat more often. And that's why I said, you know, just a few minutes back, it's all about how your relationship with money starts. So the quicker that you can set a foundation and actually create those habits early on, whether you make $100,000 a year, $50,000, $1 million a year, it's creating a system, just like a muscle, right?
Yeah.
And things become muscle memory for you. So that's the best way to attack generational wealth, live within your means, start actually.
What is your advice and what is investing really, and how can beginners get started that may not have that 50,000 or even 5,000? And then I'd like for you to touch on ETFs, mutual funds, and which is best for most people. And then I have a second half of questions, but I'll let you hit that first half first.
Okay. So the beauty of this internet age that we're in, you can go create an account in 5 minutes.
Yep.
And that account is as simple as going to fidelity.com, charlesschwab.com, all these discount brokers that will allow you to have an investment account. It could be even Acorns, right?
Yep.
The app that you it rounds up to the nearest dollar, and it puts that money into an investment account where you can buy stocks and bonds. I am on the side of buying ETFs because ETFs, you track an index, but also they're low cost.
Yeah.
So if you already have somebody who doesn't have a ton of capital to invest, so on the private wealth side, which is where I've been working my entire career, I am more focused on long term. So personally, I don't do day trading, nor do I advise on it, but I do know a statistic that says like 80% of day traders actually lose money. They don't make money.
Yeah.
Right. And it's not to say everybody who does it doesn't make money, but it's a difficult industry to be in. Essentially, you're either trading futures, currencies. You might just be trading stocks, right? You're looking to make the edge. If you see earnings are coming out with Google tomorrow, your bet is that, they're going to beat earnings or they're going to lose earnings, and you're trying to hedge a bet on if they're going to do better or worse. It's a lot of work. It's not my expertise, right? I tell people that all the time. If you want to day trade, that's on you. Like what I do is I advise on long-term wealth. So if you told me I want to retire and hedge, but if you look at it across the board, you know, the stock market will give you 8 to 10% a year on average, whereas gold typically just keeps up with inflation, and then you might have spikes here and there. So the net is to invest, but you have to understand the risk that you're taking as well.
Man, well, this went so fast, bro. I wish we had some more time, but can you please real quickly tell the people where they could find you or any information you'd like to share before we go to break?
Yeah, man. So on LinkedIn, Jeffrey Lewis II. My Instagram handle is JLew Financially Fit. Always open to helping folks out. Those are my two sources to hit me up there.
Man, well, I will definitely be hitting you up, Jay Lewis, because I need some more financial discipline on not jumping in these IPOs early. But thank you once again for joining us on the Grapevine. Welcome back. You are now swinging from the Grapevine on the Truth 101.7 FM, located in the heart of downtown Milwaukee in the 3rd Street Market Hall, live from the American Family Insurance Studios. I am your boy Ray Nitty, filling in for Manon Sabir. We just had the homie Jeff Lewis on, who brought us a lot of amazing information on financial literacy, the state of the current investment market, different ways to generate generational wealth. And one thing that he said is, though, one of the only ways to really generate wealth is to invest. So we need to do more investing as a community. I wish we had enough time to get into the cryptocurrency conversation. In what I would say is men not being able to properly deal with their emotions that lead to them physically harming women, lead to them making terrible choices with their kids, abusing kids and so forth. They're taking it out on somebody else because we have so much going on in our minds that we're not even talking about it. Why aren't men talking about their mental health? Is it because we don't want to feel soft? We don't want to be vulnerable? We don't want to come off as if we, don't got it together? It's okay to not be okay. And I think as men, specifically black men, we should have more groups, or get in our group chats. Let's talk about it more. We should have more spaces. Fear of being ridiculed or cast aside or being looked at as if is it okay to say the word crazy in this society? People don't want to come off as like, oh, they think I'm crazy or something. So we need more of these groups that we could have these conversations with and be vulnerable as men and talk about the things. I'm going to read this one more time for you all. Men are nearly 4 times more likely to die by suicide than women, accounting for approximately 75 to 80% of all suicide-related deaths. Please call in 833-212-1017. We'd love to hear from you. 833-212-1017. How are you dealing with your mental health? How are you going about your day?
Up-to-date statistics.
Yep. And then here's another one. I'll leave you with this. Up to 90% of individuals diagnosed with schizophrenia before the age of 30 are men.
I think we're looking at a society that is born into stress. If you look at living in the Caribbean, right? Mm-hmm. Mm-hmm. And you see the kids living in the Caribbean, they are foreign to the idea of someone in their family having major in wide variety, major amounts of mental health conditions. Mm-hmm. You can almost ask any of your relatives in St. Lucia. Mm-hmm. I can ask some of my friends in Jamaica, and especially some of the rural areas, like, hey, look, are you
do an amazing job of having conversations around things, but where is the activation around these things? And I think within myself, I'm going to work on seeing how I could do more to be on the activation side, and not just the conversation side. But take it home, Manon.
Hey, let's make sure that we always tune in to 101.7 The Truth Radio. This is the Grapevine. We got Jazz, Tyler, and Meech coming up with a tap in. Hey, we're going to pay these bills, but before we pay these bills, make sure you pull somebody up. Don't pull away. Yep. Let's go.
Don't go anywhere.
Yeah.